Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I'm really happy you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 70, and I want to talk about just pitching it. Um, I don't think I'm alone in this, but sometimes when, I'm out in the world, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm reading an article, I'm having a conversation with a friend, I'm just driving to work, whatever. And sometimes I will get an idea and I will think, oh my goodness, I could add value in that situation. Maybe I, have an idea that could be helpful. Maybe I, would be good to bring on as a consultant or, an assistant with a project or, you just kind of know, right, that you are someone that could help with this particular thing. And a lot of times, right, we will just let that idea come and go and we will not follow up. And this week, your nudge is to really, really chew on that when that happens and really consider making the pitch. So, the example I want to share with you is this is something that actually happened a couple of years ago. I think it was actually January 1st, and I was on a walk, and New Year, starting a walk. It was actually a gorgeous day, even though it was January, a little crisp, but the sun was shining. I distinctly remember. So, I was walking, having a beautiful walk. And I'm listening to a podcast that I enjoy. And the podcast host just happened to mention that she was putting together a live event coming up in the fall and was looking for someone to help coordinate said event. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I can coordinate events. That's part of what I do for a living and part of what I do on the freelance work that I do. And I really like this podcast. I really enjoy this podcaster. And wow, I'd actually really also like to go to this live event. And, I think I might just, put my hat in the ring. And what was interesting is this particular project was all the way across the country. And this is a contact that I didn't have, right? I'd never, had a conversation with this podcaster before. She did not know me at all, right? I listened to the podcast for about a year at that point, and so I'm a complete stranger. And so I went back to my house and I have a home office. And so I went in there and I did a little research and, found an email address for her and, took a look at my LinkedIn profile. And I thought, you know what, there's some things that aren't on here related to event planning. So I went ahead and did that, right? So I got my ducks in a row as far as being a credible person to pitch coordinating her live event. And then I sent an email with a link to my LinkedIn, a little bit about some of the things that I had done. Full confession that I was in California, but that I was a fan of, the podcast and what the live event was going to be about. And, she want to have a conversation? And she reached back out and said, yeah, let's go ahead and do a Zoom. And long story short, or long story medium, she went ahead and hired me to do this live event and coordinating it from California for something that was happening all the way across the country. And I was so excited. And I was excited for two reasons. First of all, I was really proud of myself because a lot of times I will just let those ideas come and go. Oh gosh, well, maybe they wouldn't want to work with me, or maybe I don't have time, or, maybe I'm not really qualified, or all those little imposter syndromey things, or really lame excuses for not pitching things. We all allow ourselves to get caught up in that. So I was super proud of myself for just pitching it and putting, together my best foot that I could put together, best foot forward, and, seeing if the opportunity would present itself. So I was really proud of myself for that. And then I was also proud of myself because this was going to be a new experience for me, right? It was going to be an opportunity for me to grow and have something different on my resume and also utilize, some networking. Because one of the things I thought about was, okay, I don't know where to hold said event because I've actually never even been to that city before. Yet I know several folks through, former students, alumni, colleagues, folks in the PR community in that state. And I thought, you know what, this will be a great opportunity to reach out to them and to, see if they can assist and, do this really cool thing that I've never done before. So lots of things to be happy about. And then also after that, after the euphoria of being proud of myself and getting excited about doing something new, then I became slightly terrified. So I thought, holy cow, what was I thinking? Yeah, wow, am I going to be able to do this? Holy cow, have I bit off more than I can chew? Is this really something I can deliver? Right? A little bit again of that whole imposter syndrome, doubting yourself, all of that. And, so then I had to have a conversation with myself and, say, well, regardless of the anxiety that you might be feeling, you are committed now. And so you need to make this happen. So the first thing I did was reach out to my contacts and received a lot of really good leads and, went to research on venues and found a great venue and ended up having, one of the really coolest professional experiences that I've ever had. Coordinating an event from all the way across the country, having it be ridiculously successful the first time out. And the client, is continuing to do that event. I actually was going to do it the second year as well. But as if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I broke my knee, which was incredibly disruptive to a lot of things, including screwing up that opportunity to do that event for the second year in a row. However, regardless, I am happy that I chose to just pitch it. And even if it hadn't worked out, it would have been good. Because again, I just would have been proud of myself for doing it, for putting myself out there. My LinkedIn would be all the much better for it. Because as I mentioned, I had to do a little LinkedIn upgrade before I pitched her. And it still would have benefited me. As it turned out, right? Because I got the gig, it benefited me even more. So this is this week's nudge. As go about your life, and you get these little inklings that you can provide value. And it doesn't even have to be in a professional way, right? It doesn't even mean that you're, pitching yourself for something, work related. This could be, pitching yourself, to help with an event for a cause that you feel strongly about, or strengthening a relationship because you know that you could help someone put something together, or even provide them with an opportunity to connect with someone else, right? You have an idea, pitch the idea. Maybe it's even you're going to start to become an entrepreneur, right? And so you have an idea for a product or a service, and you figure out, what the resources are in your community. Maybe it's the Small Business Development Center. Maybe it's the Economic Development Commission. Maybe it's something associated with the university that is close to you that, you just want to talk to somebody and explore that idea and see if it's going to work. These things do not happen if we don't pitch our ideas. And again, it doesn't really even matter if the idea doesn't go anywhere. Just the pitching, the getting your ducks in a row in order to make a pitch that makes reasonable sense is going to benefit you in such a tremendous way. It's going to give you confidence to pitch something again. It's going to, have amped up your pitching related materials. So there really isn't any downside. And it could, potentially lead to something amazing. So as you get these thoughts, really, really sit on, really, really stop and chew on them and decide if it might be something worth pitching. So have fun with that. I would love to hear what you pitch and how it goes. And until next week's episode, please have a fabulous week. I look forward to connecting again on Handled-ish Productivity for the Imperfect. And until then, be kind to yourself, obviously to everyone else. Well, those who deserve it. Just kidding. Kindness is never a bad thing. And trust me, you are doing way better than you think you are. So go out and make something happen. Take care.